Tom was asked to paint the number of plates on 100 apartments, which means he will have to paint numbers 1 through 100. Can you figure out the number of times he will have to paint the number 8? Little vocabulary as a reminder. So, in the example, the 10, which is the number or the base, is what is being multiplied. The 3 is the exponent or the power, and that is saying how many times the base is being multiplied. So in this example, 10 to the third power is 10 times 10 times 10, and it equals 1,000. Guys, all right, time to do a little bit of our fluency for this week. So prior to this, I showed you an example that went back over the vocabulary. So we touched on this a couple times throughout the year. So I wanted to make sure that we went back over it because this is definitely something you're going to be doing in 6th grade. So I wanted to review it again. So this takes a little bit of practice. So the more you practice at it, the better you're going to get. Okay, so I want to go back over the vocabulary one more time. So the number down here, in this case, it's the 4. That's going to be your base. That is the number that you are going to be multiplying out. The small number here, up here in the corner is called the exponent or the power. That tells you how many times to multiply this number out. So I'm going to write it out first, and then we're going to solve it. Eventually, you'll get to the point where you can just kind of solve it. So let's start with 4 squared, or 4 to the second power. So the 4 is what's being multiplied, and it's being multiplied 2 times. So 4 times 4. This is a basic math fact, so you should be able to solve this one. 4 times 4 equals 16. So 4 squared, or 4 to the second power, is 16. So now we're going to change the numbers around a little bit. Okay, 3 is our base. That is the number we're going to be multiplying. And the exponent here is 3 times. So we are going to be multiplying 3 times 3 times 3. This is much different than 3 times 2 or 3 times 3 because you have to multiply all of these together. So we're going to start with the left. We're going to go 3 times 3 is 9. And then we're going to multiply that by 3. 9 times 3 equals 27. So that's where it becomes a little different, okay? Now, 5 to the first power. So if we do anything to the first power, it's just going to be the same number, 5. Let's come down here. 2 to the third power, we're going to be multiplying 2 times 2 times 2. So going left to right, 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. Okay, so let's go up to the top. Now, the numbers you're going to see are starting to be a little larger, and that's okay. You can use a calculator if you feel like you need to. Just make sure you're typing in the right numbers. Okay, so 10 to the fourth power. We're going to be taking 10 and multiplying it 4 times. So 10 times 10 times 10 times 10. Now, some of you can look at that and know what the answer is, and that's okay. Otherwise, you can do the work. You can put in a calculator. It's all up to you. So 10 times 10 is 100. 100 times 10 is 1,000. 1,000 times 10 is 10,000. Okay, next one. 7 to the third power. So we're going to take 7 and we're going to multiply it out 3 times. 7 times 7 times 7. Now, I did these answers prior to doing this, so that's why I'm able to come up with numbers so quickly. Okay, so I have 7 times 7 is 49. 49 times 7 is 343. Now, I used a calculator for that, so like I said, it's okay. 6 squared, or 6 to the second power. 6 is being multiplied 2 times. 6 times 6, again, basic math fact, 36. Last one. 2 to the second power. 2 times 2 equals 4. And that is answering exponents. So we're going to be using those for the rest of the lesson, which is why I wanted to review it quickly. So your best bet is to practice several of them so you can get used to solving for exponents. So you can pick any base, and then you can pick any exponent and just solve. So for example, 5 to the third power. You can solve that. 10 to the third power. You can practice solving that. So coming up with examples on your own is the best way to get the practice. All right, Good luck on your riddle. See you soon. This is the rules for the order of operations. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. It's just a way to remember the order. So you're always going to start with the P, which is for parentheses, and you're going to solve for the operations in parentheses first. Second is going to be the exponents, solve for those. Then you're going to go to multiplication and division. You're going to move in order from left to right. Then you're going to go to addition and subtraction, and you're going to move again from left to right. Guys, so our lesson is going to be on the order of operations, which again we touched on frequently throughout the school year, but it's just going to keep being repetitive practice. So again, this is something that is important for you to be in 6th grade math, and you're also going to be using it in 7th and 8th and so on forth. So it's definitely a good practice and a good introduction to pretty much algebra. Okay, so let's get started. So what I did is the example that I showed you towards the beginning of the video, I rewrote some of it just so I can have it as a reference. So parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction, and then the same example. Over here in orange, I just wrote the acronym, which is please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Now that is something so I can refer to throughout the whole video. You do not have to rewrite all of this. One of the things I do like to do is over here next to my problems is I like to write the acronym. So that way I know that I'm going to be hitting every single solitary step and I'm not going to miss anything. So I like to do that, and you're going to see as I go along, I'm going to cross out to make sure I did it right. Okay, so we're going to start with, now this is a 9, I know it looks like a 4. 9 minus 6 is in parentheses, and that's being multiplied by 5. So we're going to start at my top, which is P is for parentheses. So do I have parentheses? Yes, I do. So I'm going to solve inside that first. 9 minus 6 is 3. So I'm going to rewrite the rest of my problem. So now I have parentheses, I'm done. So I can cross that out. Exponents, do I have any? No, so I'm going to cross that out. So going from left to right, do I have multiplication or division? I do. I have multiplication, so I'm going to solve. So 3 times 5 equals 15. Now I'm done. So I don't have to do the rest because I've completely solved my problem, so I can move on to my next problem. My next problem, 50 divided by 5 plus 3 minus 5. So again, you can see, really small, I wrote out the P, E, M, D, and AS. So I can go along and check off what I've done. So let's start. So starting with the P, which is parentheses, do I have any here? No. So that means done. I can keep moving. So now I'm going to go to the E. E is for exponents. Do I have any exponents? No. So I'm going to keep moving. Now this is where it's going to start to get a little complicated. So M and D stands for multiplication and division. So moving from left to right as you read, we're going to do either multiplying or dividing first. So moving, 50 divided by 5, I'm going to solve that first. So 50 divided by 5 is 10. And then I'm going to write my problem. So 3 minus 5. So now I can keep going. Is there any other multiplication division? No. 10 plus 3 minus 5. So I'm done. So now moving from left to right, I either add or subtract. 10 plus 3. 10 plus 3 is 13 minus 5. And that answer is 8. So then I'm done. So I'm finished my problem. So next problem. I have 5 times 3 in parentheses, and I'm multiplying it by 2. So it's starting at the top, parentheses. Yes, I do have parentheses. I'm going to solve inside that first. 5 times 3 is 15, multiplied by 2. So next step, do I have any exponents? No. Am I multiplying or dividing? Yes. 15 times 2 is 30. So now I've solved for these 3 problems. You can see as I started crossing out. So now I'm going to start adding some more into my problem. So I'm going to come over here. I have my acronym written on the side. 2 squared plus 5 times 2. So we're going to start with the P. Do I have any parentheses? No, I don't. So let's cross it out. So let's go to the next thing. Go ahead, go get a drink. In the fridge. Exponents, 2 squared. That's my only exponent. Now, if you remember when we did this, 2 squared is 2 times 2. 2 is being multiplied 2 times. 2 times 2 is 4. And I'm going to rewrite out like that. Okay, next step. So I have 4 plus 5 times 2. So I'm looking at either multiplication or division. Now, that is what you have to do first. You have to do the multiplication or division first. 4 plus 5, that's not multiplication, that's addition. So we're going to do 5 times 2 first. 5 times 2 is 10. So 4 plus 10. Now I can add. 4 plus 10 is 14. So that's where it gets a little tricky. That's why I like to write this out so I can remind myself. Okay, so let's keep moving. Okay, again, wrote it out. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. 10 plus 10 times 2 divided by 5. Here's another kind of tricky one because if you solve just straight across, you're not going to get the right answer. So parentheses, do we have any? No. We can keep moving. Exponents, do we have any? No, we can keep moving. Multiplication, division, do we have some? Yes, we have a multiplication here and division here. So let's see, what do we do first? So, going from left to right, what comes first? The multiplication. So that is what we are solving. So 10 times 2 is 20. We're going to bring what we have not used down. Okay, so we've done the multiplication. Division comes next. So we're going to divide. So addition, division. 10 plus 20 divided by 5 is 4. 10 plus 4 is 14. Okay, last one. Now, I couldn't quite fit the order of operations, so I'm just going to write it a little bit above it. So please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Okay, let's start with parentheses. Now, this is a different type of problem because it has 2 sets of parentheses, and that's okay. So you're still going to solve what's inside those parentheses. So 3 times 7. 3 times 7 is 21. Plus. Now, I have exponents inside the parentheses, and that's fine. So, here, guys. Here. So, I'm still going to solve them as you see it. 2 squared is 4. Plus 2 squared is 4. So now I kept this as it is. 21 plus 8. So I did my parentheses, I did my exponents, they were kind of a combination. Is there any multiplication or division? Nope, because we already did that. Now addition and subtraction. 21 plus 8 equals 29. That's your lesson on the order of operations. Now here are some examples to practice. Again, it is all about practice. So if they're going to be complicated, they're going to be a little hard, and that's okay. So learn from your mistakes. So please make sure you guys are using the reference that I gave you, which is the example that was in the video. So please make sure you are practicing. Practice your exponents, and we will see you on Wednesday. Thanks, guys.